What is up, everybody? My name is Ryan Massacre, and welcome to episode 2 of a series that I call The Snares. This is my 1998 DW Craviotto 6.5 by 13 inch snare drum. This is, at this point, the only 13 that I still own. I used to have a Pearl Piccolo, but I just sold it. I did make a video before I sent it, so that's coming soon. I've had this drum for 10 years now. I bought this when I was living in Boston after college. And I found it on Craigslist for $350. Dude was pretty firm on his price. Maybe he had it up for $400, and I was able to talk him down to $350. I had a day off of work. At the time, I was working at the Guitar Center across from Berklee College of Music. I actually helped to open that store. When it opened, it was a pretty spectacular place. That's a story for another day, but I will say three $30,000 custom shop Gibson L5s. I don't think they stock that kind of stuff anymore. But it was great while it lasted. And I went with my coworker Bert up to New Hampshire. It was somewhere around New London, Manchester, New Hampshire, about an hour and a half away. And this guy that I bought it from, I guess, had gotten I think it was a red Sparkle, just a ply shell, 5.5 by 13 or 5 by 13, something like that, that he thought was a better drum. And I got this drum with a case. I had $340 in my pocket, and the guy almost had me go to an ATM, but thankfully I was able to convince him to just let me buy the drum. I will give it a good home, and I've been playing this drum ever since. This is my favorite 13-inch snare drum I have ever played. Being a Craviato, it's a single-ply, steam-bent maple shell. It's beautifully made. This drum originally had brass-plated hardware, as I think all of the Craviatos did. And at some point, the guy that I bought this drum from switched out the lugs and the hoops for black, but the throw-off, as you can see, is still brass, and the tension rods are still brass. So this is a very interesting color combo of black, purple, and brass, and it's just a very cool drum. The plating on the brass hardware never seems to last very long, but I don't care. It works, and it sounds great. I'm going to play it a little bit, and then I'll tell you some more. I have a remote-coated ambassador on the top and a hazy ambassador on the bottom with 20-strand Canopus Vintage unplated snare wires. This is the original throw-off, although I actually play this drum out. I know most people, you'll buy a nice drum and it's too precious to actually play music with it, but I really don't want to be that guy, I want to have a reason to play this magnificent sounding drum. So I play in a Latin fusion ensemble. It's kind of like electric salsa music. There's some Buena Vista Social Club, some Santana influence going on. And I play a lot. I don't have my clave pedal here, but I play a lot of clave pedal in this group. And this is my main gigging drum for that because I love it's very sensitive. It's a small drum, so I can get a high pitch without it getting harsh. I realize that I have a very sharp attack, so I can kind of round off a little bit of it, and this drum does that a little bit. I usually play it tuned fairly high. This drum has also appeared on a few sessions that I have been either producing or playing or both. This was, I think, the first drum I recorded with when I moved back to North Carolina in 2013. Reconnected with an old high school buddy of mine, and we started a band called Stammerings and made some demos in my parents' basement at the time. Now we've moved all the way to my own garage. But we did a song called My Author, where I played this snare drum, I think with an ambassador on it, with a pair of 15-inch Paiste sound edge hats that were too loud, and my old Pearl Masters BSX kit, which was the first real drum kit that I ever owned. I don't have it anymore because I have a bunch of Yamahas that are better. But this drum has a soft spot, and it's just fantastic. Here's a little higher. Now, of course, when I think of a 6.5 by 13 snare drum, I only think of one guy, and that's Steve Jordan. His signature Yamaha snare was one of the reasons I was interested in this drum. Initially, I bought it just because it's a Craviato, and they're like one of those mythical names in drum manufacturer land. And I grew up listening to a lot of Neil Peart, as I'm sure you can tell by looking at my channel. His A Work in Progress video that I got when I turned 13? I think I would have been 12. Got it for my 12th birthday. Watched the whole thing about 20 times that Christmas, because my birthday is a week before Christmas. And fell in love with the sound of his red Craviato 5.5 by 14. And I still want one of those. But, this drum it kind of captures some of the crack from that. But back to Steve Jordan. The John Mayer Trio record try was a big deal in my family's car circa 2006. So I would have been 15. And there's just one groove that's always stuck with me. It's just, he had this cranked snare drum. I don't know if it was the 6.5 by 13, or I think he had a bunch of snares on that tour. I think there was a smaller drum, like a 12 or something, that might have been used for that, but it was like really loose snare wires and tuned really high. And I always just thought it was really great with the low-pitched hats, which shout out to my 16-inch Byzance sand hats. These are the only Meinls that I own. I'm more of a Paiste guy, but man, these hats are great. Yeah, I mean, you can obviously get two 17-inch crashes that do the Steve Jordan thing like Steve Jordan's hats do. But, man, they're expensive. It's a Dark Energy and a traditional or something. It's like $900 worth of two crash cymbals. Might be more than that. So I'm going to tune this drum down. This drum has a really fantastic tuning range. I do personally believe that the Craviato shells have a higher natural pitch than, say, a 4-ply, thin-ply maple shell, just because there's more tension in that 1/2-inch thick piece of maple. The shells are surprisingly thick on these things. But it still holds up when you tune it real low. All right, this might take a moment. And I might do the Benny Greb trick. Well, let's see how it is right now. And as usual, one trick I like to do, I like to tighten the snares until it does that gated thing. So check it out. Start totally loose, and I'm going to slowly increase the tension of the snares. So here it chokes. But it opens back up. All right, let me put... That goes back on to mute that time. It's fun. It stays fat. Most 13s I've played don't like to be tuned like this. And I haven't touched the bottom head, which, by the way, is tuned to this pitch pretty high. Let's see how low it'll go and still sound good. Still going. If I can get to Vultures, we will have basically run the Steve Jordan snare gamut. Little hairband thing. What if we detune one lug just completely? Well, that did almost nothing. How about 2 lugs? There we go. It's still tuned higher than my rack tom, but it's got that great sort of classic, sort of gated indie rock sort of thing. I'm honestly surprised it's doing that right now. Obviously, I don't tune this drum like this because this feels like blasphemy, but I'm always just blown away by this drum. This is one of those things, one of those pieces of gear that I've owned, and I've had periods of my life, of my playing career, where I haven't played it, and I've thought about selling it because the Craviatos are going for insane amounts of money these days, certainly more than I paid for this drum. But I don't think I can do it. Because, first of all, it's purple. I've only ever seen one other purple Craviato from this era, and it was for sale on eBay for $1,000 in the Russian Federation, and I almost thought about buying it, but it was Russia, and also $1,000 is a lot for a snare drum, so, and I certainly don't have that money right now. So I'll keep it, and I'm also playing out with it, I brought it out on a whim thinking maybe this drum will be the right fit for this group, and turns out that it was. It sounds great in pretty much every room I've ever played it in. This is still a little lower than I normally play it. I'm really just kind of rambling at this point. If you've made it this far, I'm sorry. I might owe you a cookie. You know, if you haven't done the YouTube thing, if you've made it this far, you might like more of the videos that I make, because I got a bunch of really great snare drums. This is where I usually keep it. So that's pretty much it. This is that's been my purple Craviato. Oh, I do have one more story. I dropped this drum last weekend. I had a gig in Roanoke, Virginia with Tumbao, and I was being a dumbass. I went to go whack somebody's conga. And it's just like, hey, what's up? Dunk. And I ended up throwing this drum, and it landed right on the throw-off. Honestly, I'm glad it landed on the throw-off as opposed to anything else, because it's probably the least damage that it could have possibly fared, I guess, suffered. The adjustment screw got bent, and several other parts got bent, and I had to go in there with some pliers and disassemble the entire thing and bend and shape things back to where it's smooth, but it's working fine. It's working as smooth as the newer ones that are on my other DWs of this same type. I don't like the mag throw. I don't like that it goes all the way down, because then I got to reach under the snare drum. It's just inconvenient. I want to just be able to like smack the drum and have my snares turn on. You know, I don't want to have to think about where the throw off is. It's there, and then it goes here, and then it's on. John Good, if you're listening, if you could reissue the Delta throw, I would put up with that. But yeah, I'm going to play you out. Yeah, thanks for watching. Good night.